Brandon Dale Biggs, the last day preacher from right here in Oklahoma. I had no idea. Anyway, yeah, the archetype that I got for Brandon Biggs is the strong man. And I had completed the reading, and then I forgot, oh, I need to check the archetype that or the role that he's playing. And the strong, I didn't even know the strong man was an actual archetype. But in looking it up, it actually fits perfectly. Not perfectly. There are some um, different definitions about the strong man, but he really leans towards almost the political strongman. And that is somebody who, or this kind of a savior energy, but it's a big, boisterous personality that's come to save you in some way. And he has big promises. Um, right. He's going to do a lot of stuff or show you a lot of stuff or help you. But underneath the strong man image, this archetype is actually filled with doubt, self-doubt. And that is exactly what I got for Brandon. Okay. So it's exactly the right archetype. Okay, so where do I begin? The funny thing is probably you know how I've talked about my reactions to doing the new age reviews, how I have like a repulsive reaction. You would think that would have the same reaction today, Brandon. I do not. My whole body is calm and relaxed, and I can listen to him okay. It nothing bothers me. And you know why that is? Because he's being himself. He is speaking his truth. He is, as we'll find out, as his gift, which is the same thing as Darius, living his own myth and speaking his truth. And so it's a beautiful thing, regardless of the topic or whatever, it's his truth and he's living it loud and proud. And I love that. So it's very easy for me, for my body to listen to him speak. With that said, you know, I looking at his soul contract, he absolutely he could not be doing anything other than what he's doing because his chart is so directed. Um, yeah, it's quite amazing. I will say that his gifts are the same, and it's the number 5. And the number 5 is a highly etheric energy, which on the Tree of Life, there's 3 sections. There's the top section, the middle section, and the material realm. So it's etheric, the fire realm, celestial, higher self, soul, and then astral realm, which is the physical. And the number 5 sits at the top. And I'll just read you. It's all about truth and intuition. It's the window to receive the knowledge of God, divine revelations. It's all about to tell or speak your truth, to take God's knowledge and create. So you can see, let me get back to the screen here. To have these 2 numbers in both of your talent areas, it's like the driving force for him. He absolutely has the gift of sight. He is receiving information. However, due to his level, and I don't say this with arrogance, level of consciousness, right? There is a lot of ego involvement, right? But this he's speaking and living his truth. That is his gift to others on this planet right now, is showing that he is just doing, he is being himself, he's natural, and that's a beautiful thing. That's the gift that he's showing, just like Darius. And actually, they have very similar um, karmic conditions, which is interesting. But anyway, yeah, he could not be doing anything else. This is him speaking his truth. But lots of ego distortions. And I kind of want to like illustrate this for you. If the number five, the origin of these visions that he has or knowledge is way up here, and someone is still very much in animalistic, that's, I don't mean it that way, but still in very instinctual, slightly survival mode consciousness. So there's a heavy control. The ego has a lot of control still over the consciousness of the personality. Anyway, so that spark of idea, creation, information, vision sparks. And then it has to come down through the celestial realm. And there, his higher self or people's higher self begins to interpret it. And the higher self is also your super ego. It is not infallible. It is not perfection. It is an ego. It's an individuated self, but it's higher mental plane. So it takes that spark and interprets it as clearly as it can, and then it sends that information down into the human lower mind. And if it's completely kind of taken over by the ego, then we have lots of distortions that happen with his visions. Okay, so I hope that makes sense. So let's just talk about kind of what motivates him. So this kind of core wound is karmic nines, which is very I know this because I got it. It's very repressive energy, and it makes you feel like, oh, I can't do anything. I'm so repressed. But the core of this is I see the world here. Everyone's all here, and I'm over here. And I know that Brandon, is it Brandon? Yeah, Brandon experienced this because, I think he's always been involved in the church, but he was the janitor of a church. And so he's got, this is really what I want to be doing. Everyone's over here and I'm over here. Okay. That kind of separation. So in the outer personality, to kind of compensate for that, he has the karmic eights, just like Darius, which is very ungrounded, but it will manifest differently, right, in different people. And for him, what I get is he's taken on this strong man personality, because if you know the Enneagram, the eights are big, boisterous. I'm here to be seen. I'm here to look strong because self-doubt is like incredible, and any kind of emotions or something, or relating to people in emotional level would destroy me. I lose my strength. So I come in like the big cowboy that comes into the party and says, yes, we're gonna buy the car dealership and we're all gonna get lots of money, like full of big dreams, lots of big talk, but not a lot of follow through, not a just a big personality that promises a lot. And really at kind of the shadowy levels, it is conning people, following my own agenda, asserting my will onto others. So it can be very bravado, grandiose, and you could absolutely see that in him. And so it's to compensate for this repressive energy. So I'm going to be kind of aggressive to compensate for my repressed energy. And also, having these fives, man, he just has to speak it out. Like he has to get it all out. It's quite amazing how these charts are so clear. Anyway, let me see if I'm missing anything. He's absolutely doing what he's meant to do according to his soul contract, even with ego distortion, because due to level of consciousness, that's just the way it is. He's still in highly separation mode, viewing God out there. God has rules. The Bible tells us what to do. That's very still separated consciousness. No conscious deceit intended in him. However, do I ask, so is he kind of a trustworthy source? And no, and that's because of the ego distortion. but he does have the gift of sight. Like if he could get clear, and I do believe he has moments of clarity, but then, well, here's what I got. He uses his gift egoically, yes, and he creates the narrative. He creates a narrative. Like if he could just calm down, take his time, and receive a clear vision without creating a story and a narrative around it, because he has very, mm, uh, for sure, he has an agenda, like a political leanings, and he talks about that. So so the ego comes in and creates an agenda, and that distorts the vision, right? And then, if he's not right, if he makes anyway, he does a lot of retelling of the vision if it doesn't turn out to be just right. But I think at the very foundation, his visions are correct, except he clouds it with the egoic narrative, trying to sell the narrative. So is he trustworthy? Kind of not, because it's the ego agenda. Um, I asked, I don't think he calls himself a prophet, but lots of people like to call him a prophet. He is not a prophet. But I know he says, I got this prophecy. Well, he got a vision or some information, or, well, the five is highly imaginative. So, he can be a great visionary, great imagination. He really has a gift. Um, he uses his gift egoically, yes. Received, blah, blah, blah. Let me see. Manipulates visions to suit his narrative, yes. The voice that he hears in his head obviously is not of God, it's his own ego. God source does not speak to political intentions, that, yeah, so we know that. However, okay, there's no conscious deceit. Is he a true believer of the Bible? Yes, he is. Ding, ding, ding. He is in it. He is a true believer, and you can feel that, right? Um, Big personality, maybe being a bit of a showman, but he is a true believer. Um, Truly, blah, blah, let's see, uses this. He doesn't use stuff. He's not doing this for personal gain. Of course, it's all ego motivation, which is unconscious. We all do it. Sincerely wants to help people. Ding, 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 right? He's taken on this save. He truly believes this. And however, does he believe he is helping people? No. And he has, and I asked, oh, he has big inner doubt. Ding, ding, ding. And remember, I didn't know about the strongman personality, or archetype. It like wrapped it all up. So I was like, oh my gosh, he has doubt. He has lots of inner doubt. So he sincerely wants to help people. He's a true biblical Bible believer, but underneath, he doesn't think he's actually helping. And I think when his visions don't come completely true and he comes back on and tries to re-explain them, that's his doubt creeping in. He's like, oh my God, I didn't help anybody. And I think he feels really bad about that, but he sincerely wants to help. Let's see. Sorry. I was asking if he has any external non-physical influences, like a lot of the New Agers, and I got no, although he does have some negative energy attachments. They are not reptilian, or like they're coming from his own psyche. And the I Ching talks to them. They are demonic elements known as imps, dragons. I can't remember the other names, but they're thought forms that are doing the work of the ego. So they make him can be impulsive, like taking impulsive action, saying impulsive things like that. So those are the forces that are guiding him in a negative way. He doesn't need to have any archon or reptilian forces to manipulate him to whatever distort this message, or keep people separated, because already the message of kind of religious is already in separation, and having a particular political slant is a separated thing. Having God outside of yourself is already separated, and some fear last days, end of days, it's already there. So, he's doing the work for the reptilians. Anyway, let's see. Manipulates visions. Yes, yeah. And the imps or dragons in his own ego, these negative elements, are what manipulate his visions, right? Okay, what do we really need to know about Brandon? His ego, and once again, like I just throw the coins and whatever comes up, and the message is his ego doubt blocks clarity of vision. However, this man has made and is making progress in saying no to the ego. See, he's evolving, he's really working on himself. Um, but and he's freed a little bit of his true self, but not enough, right? To really hear clearly. And his rational mind keeps inserting and manipulating. Okay. Okay. Regarding the speaking in tongues, I find this very interesting. Um, the whole speaking of tongues thing, what I couldn't quite get a clear answer about, like, what is it all about? I should have looked it up, but I assume it's something about the Holy Spirit coming in and blah blah blah. And well, for him, the speaking in tongues, it is made up. However, who cares? Because the speaking in tongues, well, what I get is it's a man-made method. And this is kind of like I'm getting it close, but I'm not quite right. It's a man-made method to verbally interpret what information, energy frequencies may be coming from, the higher self, the monadic self, whatever. It's a higher self, really, because it's the one doing the interpretation. And that frequency comes down and it hits, and you feel that frequency, and it's their way of using a verbal representation of this higher frequency. And it is a divination method, and I got a yes on that. And I think biblically speaking in tongues requires another person to interpret it. And so he's speaking in false tongue um, without an interpreter. However, what I also got is that speaking in tongues is much like doing a mantra. Okay. Um, it is his way of making sounds to disengage from the mind. He may not know that's why he's doing it, but what it does is it focuses on sound, making noise, and it opens the mind for information to come through. Okay. So I find that very interesting. Let's see. He is a pure human soul, once again. Has lived primarily most of his lifetimes here. Ding, ding, ding. I got a yes. And what I got for his chakras, the base, I got kind of a roasting pig. I don't. This has nothing to do with his looks, not at all. But it was telling me that, still kind of still of a base, more animal survival consciousness, but also it's a prosperous, it's really grounded. He's being nourished in this way. It's good. His base is good. Sacral, I got a cucumber, and who knew that a cucumber was like biblically oriented? And what it represents is struggle with contentment in life and struggle with faith. Once again, self-doubt and faith. Solar plexus, I got a pelican, which is also biblically a thing, and it represents nourishment. Christ is the Eucharist. So he really is a believer, and sharing he's sharing his light with others and himself and his message as like a Eucharist, if I'm saying that correctly. So he's on point with what he's here to do. His heart, I got a fur coat like of a bear, and definitely once again, strong man, you know, but can be aggressive. Okay. And the throat, man, you know what I saw? A drummer in full jam session mode. So, and if you've listened to him, he is like a drummer, just going for it, and just having the time of his life. And so he is in alignment with his self-expression. Okay, and once again, let's see what else. What I get is he is at level 400. This is once again questioning life. What is the meaning of life? How can we make life better? That kind of evolutionary consciousness. It's very wonderful. Um, and and the gift that he shares with others is just being himself, 100%, just like Darius. He's living his own myth, and he is making progress. So the I Ching says he's making progress. He's doing the best that he can with the knowledge that he has. So he is living without blame. He is living simply, conducting himself without too much blame, right? Living his own myth. And I think that's a beautiful thing. However, right, the visions, oh, he really could be a wonderful seer, but so yeah, I think that's all I have to say. Okay, till next time.